It is now 11:42. It's Wednesday. That means we have Craig Oct joining us in studio, taking your plant and garden questions through the WQAD Facebook Live right now. Let's start it off with Sharon. How do you get strawberries ready for winter?
Okay, strawberries, you need to lay in some straw. What you want to do is make sure that you go ahead and do your final weeding of the patch right now, and you should cover the patch with about 5 inches of straw before we get down to 20 degrees. Believe it or not, next year's buds are already on the plant and they start being damaged at 20 degrees. So get that straw ready, get the bed covered.
Alrighty, and Mary asked, how do you trim a climbing rose for winter?
Actually, you don't prune a climbing rose before winter. You're doing your main climbing rose pruning after the first heavy flush of bloom next year, which I usually figure is going to be sometime in early June. Those buds are already there for next year's early bloom, and you'll rejuvenate the plant by pruning it after it gets done with that first heavy flush of bloom next year.
Nancy wants to know how to trim their clematis.
Clematis, there again, we're not going to touch it right now. That's another spring pruning, and usually about late March, early April, we're going to take it down to about hip high, about 30 inches above the ground. Unless your plant is new this year, then you take it down to 10 inches next year, 10 inches the year after that. Then you go to the 30-inch pruning every year after that.
Lindsay asked, what's the best way to keep herbs indoors year-round?
Give them as much sun as you possibly can. All of the herbs are sun lovers, so you either have to have a good, I'd say south or west window, or a nice light setup where you can give them 12 to 16 hours of artificial light during the day. Past that, they're like any other house plant. Water thoroughly. When you do water, drain the excess. Don't let water soak up from the bottom. And an herb that you want to keep growing through the winter, I would fertilize probably about every 2 weeks, 10 days with a mild fertilizer.
Joe wants to know if you can plant, is it arborvitaes now, or is it better to wait till spring?
Arborvitae? Well, arborvitae.
Perfect, close enough.
You were close.
Potato.
You were close. If you can find good arborvitae, get them in the ground now. It's the standard procedure. Dig the hole twice as wide as the pot, no deeper than the soil in the pot. You don't want them sinking down into the ground. And then putting your root stimulator on it when you plant, and lots of mulch so the ground cools down as slowly as possible before it shuts the roots down this winter season.
And Lindsay asked, what are some tips you have for growing plants in water? Is growing plants in soil a better alternative?
No, a lot of plants. We have a whole line of plants available that are strictly in really nice glass globes, but what you have to remember is that water roots and soil roots are two different animals. So that if you root something in water, you have to get it used to being in the soil. The important thing with water growing is that you change the water probably every 10 days, 2 weeks, and you might go ahead and just put one drop, I mean 1 drop of fertilizer in the water when you change it.
Just the one. All right. We're going to take more questions after this short break. In the meantime, you can get your questions in the comment section of the WQAD Facebook Live. We'll be right back.